Welcome to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Now here along with Dr. Bonati, your host, Kimberly Bermel.
Thanks for listening to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bermel, joined by our radio executive producer and friend, Ethan Euchre.
Glad to be here as always.
We have esteemed senior fellow Jeff Wagstaff.
Hola, mommy.
What happened to you?
I thought she was going to tease me, so I was trying to get
Junior Mint.
I love it. Are you illegal?
Mommy.
Oh, no.
Si, papi.
Edamame? What? No. All right. Anyway,
That's all my
just so
Spanish.
much for the whole show's gone
We
to
get
pot.
derailed
See, there you
straight
go.
out of the
I
gates.
know.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
Thanks, Jeff.
And across from me, we have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute.
I'm appalled.
I'm right with you. I'm appalled as well.
Me too. Well, every week we try to tell you what sets the Bonati Spine Institute apart from everything else that's out there on the market. Well, first and foremost, Dr. Bonati and the Institute do a procedure called the Bonati Spine Procedures, and nobody else is able to do them. They are patented and exclusive to their facility in Hudson, Florida. Now, people travel the world to come to Hudson, Florida to regain their strength and get back in motion. And, you know, even if people have heard that there's nothing that can be done, they have to live their lives on pain medicines. They've been told not even invasive procedures will help them, or they could undergo the procedure, but they're going to be limited in motion. Last week, we had a gentleman on where that was the case. And you don't have to live your life like that. You can actually live pain-free, medicine-free. Some people have gotten to such a dark place because either they've gone through failed back and neck surgery somewhere else, and then all of a sudden they find out about Bonati, but they were contemplating suicide. It is so sad, and we're so thankful when people show up at our offices because they can get true patient resolve. We're talking about pinpoint accuracy, not just some laser being used. That's a buzzword where it's like tap, tap, tap of the laser, but the results are not long lasting. We've seen patients actually come in thinking they've undergone procedures and procedures were not done. So that's why Bonati succeeds where others have failed. Coming up on the show, we have James Sacalo, author of Undemocratic: How Unelected, Unaccountable Bureaucrats Are Stealing Your Liberty and Freedom.
This is a straight up Dr.
Yeah.
Bonati interview. He's going to love this one, and that's why I booked him for you.
I'm going to listen.
And then, forgive me, I'm not sure of the pronunciation here, but Dr. Ankur
I think it's Ankur Singh.
okay,
Yeah.
of Cornell University to discuss synthetic immune organs. This thing is amazing.
Another crazy
know.
thing that's way over my head, but we'll get into it.
And then, of course, we'll hear what's new in American medicine today. But up first,
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
well, I'd like to welcome to the show patient Dwayne Pearson, who is on the line from Springdale, Arkansas. Well, thank you for being with us.
Hello, Kimberly. Thank you for having me.
Well, you have an amazing story. Now, you're a construction manager, but didn't you also used to race motorcycles? And is that what you believe caused your problems?
Well, for a lot of years, I didn't want to believe that, but in my younger days, I did a lot of crazy things. I used to race motorcycles and was beaten, banged up pretty good a few times, put in the hospital.
Ooh.
But then over the years, I've worked in manufacturing. I've worked in plants, manufacturing plants around the world. And all those years of being on concrete floors, being on your knees, constantly walking, I just figured that kind of added up to, a lot of low back stress and low back pain.
Yes.
So for about 20 years, I would go and see a chiropractor probably about every 5 or 6 months and get, a tune-up, what I would call a tune-up. And they'd stretch you, and pop your back and everything. And I could go on for another 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
Well, around the November of 2008, my back pain came back again. And only this time, I noticed I started feeling shooting pains down my right leg, off and on, not constant.
Okay.
So I went back to my chiropractor, and after about 4 sessions with him, actually I was getting worse. It got to the point to where my right foot was actually falling asleep. I couldn't walk more than 40 or 50 steps, and I would have to get right down on my hands and knees
Oh my
and
goodness.
just curl right up and try to let the stress, relieve off my back. For about 30 seconds, I would ball up like that, and then I could get up and I could walk again.
Right.
So my chiropractor, he explained to me, he doesn't think he's helping me at all, that I should go see my doctor and have an MRI done.
Okay.
So I did that. And the MRI revealed that I had an L4 and L5 herniated disc in my lower back. So I lived in Northwest Arkansas at the time, and I was sent to a local doctor who specialized in back surgery. Well, it took about 3 weeks for me to even get the appointment to see this gentleman.
Wow.
And all this time, my back is constantly getting worse. I can't sleep. I tried sleeping in lounge chairs, laying on the floor, in recliners, and there was nowhere I could get comfortable. I couldn't walk very long. I couldn't sit very long.
Okay.
It was just a real antagonizing pain, and it was constantly shooting down my leg. So I finally get in to see this physician here locally, and he explained to me that he was going to operate on me, and I'd have about a 4 or 6 inch long incision in my back.
Okay.
I would spend at least one night in the hospital, if not 2. And then after the surgery, and there was no guarantees with the surgery, and he made that very clear several times in our conversation, that some patients come out of the surgery and are in worse shape than they were when they went into the surgery.
Wow.
So listening to all this, it was kind of disturbing to me. And the worst part was, after the surgery, he would allow me to ride home in a car, but I could not even ride in a car for 4 to 6 weeks after the surgery.
Wow.
Well, I'm the kind that I don't even like staying home for a day with a cold.
Let alone
Right.
a month and a half.
Oh my goodness.
Let alone a month and a half. I would be bouncing off the walls after about day number 2. So I left his office. We made an appointment.
Okay.
The appointment for my surgery was actually 6 weeks out.
6 additional weeks. So you already went through 3 weeks additional of pain just to
Just to
get
see
in
the
front of the doctor. And now,
Yes.
9 weeks
Correct.
later, you'd finally be
Correct.
able to have surgery. Wow.
That may or may not work.
What
It may or
did
may not work. Exactly.
what did you do
Now,
with the pain?
Well, he prescribed me, the same doctor then prescribed me based on my pain level. And my pain level, I think at that time was like a 9 out of 10. It was excruciating.
Right.
This is the kind of pain for those folks that have never had back trouble that I would not wish this pain on my worst enemy in the world.
Okay.
It was debilitating. I'm a very active man. I'm always on the go.
Right.
I've got projects going at home and all over the world with the company that I work with right now. And I went to work every day, but it was a struggle. It was a struggle to get out of bed. It was a
Right.
real struggle to get dressed. Many times my wife would have to help me put my pants on, help me tie my shoes.
People don't realize that it not only affects you as the patient, but also your significant other.
Of course.
Yeah.
Exactly. My wife, and she was really good throughout all of this. The doctor prescribed me, I think it was oxycodone
Okay.
at first.
Beef.
Right.
And the oxycodone, I think it made everything else feel okay, my body,
Right.
but it absolutely did nothing for that nerve pain that I was feeling. And my foot was going to sleep and then would wake up. And I mean, if any of you have ever laid on your arm while you were sleeping and wake up and it's
Right.
tingling and then kind of numb feeling, well, my right foot got to the point to where it did that and stayed that way. It never woke up.
So what did you do? That medication wasn't working. Did you ask for anything else? Did you try
I
to?
did.
Okay.
I went back to him after about a week and a half, and actually I called his office. I didn't even go in and see him, and he prescribed whichever one is stronger. I think it was
Oxycontin.
Wow.
next. And again, it wasn't doing anything, and I wound up with a pill bottle that probably had 100 pills
Wow.
in this prescription. And I was at night, You know, I was only supposed to take like 2 a day, and I was catching myself at night eating like 4 of them
Oh,
within
my
an
goodness.
hour, just to try to get a couple hours sleep. And that's all I was living on, was maybe 2 hours sleep throughout the night.
Unbelievable. That's no life, and especially with a hectic job like construction, not the thing to be where you're dealing with heavy equipment and all sorts of projects to be falling asleep and not having your wits about you. How did you find out about the Bonati Spine Institute?
Well, about 2 weeks after I went to that doctor's appointment, I was in a Walmart, a local Walmart, and a friend of mine, an acquaintance, had seen me. And when I was in Walmart, I forget what I had to go in there and get, but I would find an aisle where there was nobody in that aisle, and I would get down on my hands and knees, like I explained earlier, so that I could get up and then go about another 40 or 50 feet. Well, I did that one particular time, and as I was getting up off the floor, this gentleman came around the corner, and he looked at me and he asked me, "My God, what is wrong with you? What's going on?" You know, and he could just see in my face, I guess, the pain that I was in.
Right.
So I explained to him pretty much what I just told you, and he said, "Wait a minute, you know, don't go anywhere else. When you leave Walmart, come over to my office." He was a local real estate agent, and he had an office just within a quarter mile from this Walmart. So he said, "Come over to my office. I want to give you a card to a place in Hudson, Florida that he had gone to about 3 or 4 years earlier."
Right.
So I left Walmart, went over to his office. Keith Olson was his name, a real nice gentleman, older fella. And he explained to me, he got into his file cabinet and he pulled out this folder, and he explained to me that about 3 or 4 years earlier, he had problems with his upper back.
Right.
And what it was pinching a nerve that was affecting his arm. His hand would go numb. His arm was constant pain. And he went through the same kind of thing that I did. He went and saw a local physician, and, you know, they were cut and wire and fuse this and do, you know, whatever they do. And another acquaintance of his had told him about Bonati. So he gives me this card, and I go back to my office and I get on my computer, and I look up the Bonati Institute online, and I fill out, there's a little questionnaire there when you go online that asks, you know, what happened, what are you feeling, and so forth. So I kind of laid out my story, and I hit send, and I send it off to the Bonati Institute. And I believe this was a Saturday morning.
Okay.
On Monday, I get an email from the Bonati Institute. I forget the doctor's name.
Right.
But he sent me an email saying, you know, listening to your story, it looks like you have a problem in your lower lumbar of your back. We suggest that you go get an MRI. So I sent him an email back explaining I had an MRI about 6 weeks earlier.
Okay.
And he responded right away, go back to where you had the MRI done, have them put it on a CD, burn it on a CD for you, and give it to you, and then FedEx it to him overnight in Hudson, Florida. So I did that. This was like probably a Wednesday. My Friday afternoon, I get a phone call from a doctor at Bonati, and we talked for a little while. And he had reviewed my MRI, and he told me that, you know, the same thing the other doctor told me, lower lumbar L4 and L5 were herniated. And one of those, or both, were pinching on my S1 nerve and was causing me all this pain. So we talked a little while, and I asked him, you know, a little bit about the surgery, you know, and it's much less evasive. I said, well, how long am I laid up? You know, how long can I drive? You know, a week or two? And he was like, you know, the very next day, we have patients, you know, that go back to, you know, not normal, but a better life than what you had the day before.
Correct.
So I also explained to him I was still in about 4 weeks of waiting to go to my surgery here locally. How soon could the Bonati Institute take me in? And they could take me within, it was about a week and a half.
Why don't, just for the sake of brevity, because we're coming up on a break, when you walked into Bonati, why don't you kind of take it from there? What was that evaluation process like? And then how was surgery for you?
Okay, great. Yeah, when I walked into Bonati Institute, it it ran like a well-oiled machine. I went right in. There's a nice little donut shop right there, and I sat there for a few minutes and waited for my first meeting. It was a consultation.
Okay.
I went right from the consultation. I met with the doctor. The doctor requested that I go have another MRI done, and I'm thinking, oh, wow, here we go. I got to go across town and get an MRI. Well, that wasn't the case. The MRI is done right on campus. It was a building just, I think, to the north of the main facility. I walked over there, had the MRI done. I carried the MRI back to the doctor's office, and we sat and reviewed it in his office.
Okay.
And nothing major had changed. So he scheduled me for surgery for the very next morning. I went over to the accounting division. There was a portion that I had to pay for my whole surgery, and they guaranteed me that before I even got there, that this is how much I'm going to have to pay out of pocket.
Right.
And I paid it, and I never saw a bill for anything more than that.
Okay.
Throughout all this.
Were you nervous at all, knowing that it was going to be like conscious IV sedation, that you'd be interactive with the doctor?
I was a little nervous, of course. Yeah. I hate it. I don't like needles. I don't like doctors' offices to begin with. But everybody there at the Bonati Institute was real nice, from the staff at the office side of it to the nurses to the doctor. Came right into the waiting room. While I had put my gown on and everything.
Right.
And at 8 o'clock in the morning, they walked me into the operating room, and he explained to me I would be awake, and that they wanted to communicate with me because they wanted to know what was going on in case they were to touch something or cause me discomfort.
Correct.
During the operation. And actually, I really think that's a really good idea because, if I'm asleep, if I'm numbed out, and they were to, touch something that, or, hit something that shouldn't be, how would they ever know? They'd say you back up, and then the next thing you know, you have another problem.
When did you start to feel relief of the pain that brought you in, Dwayne?
At about 9:15 that morning, the doctor, they were operating on me, and they had, with the microsurgery, they had gone in, and whatever the magic is that they do that Dr. Bonati has invented, when he let that nerve go, I could feel he was messing with the nerve because I could feel it up and down my right leg. My toes would tingle every once in a while.
Right.
And when he said, okay, that's it, and he released that nerve and let it go into its normal track or wherever it belonged, it felt like a lightning bolt struck me right in the rear end. It is the best way I could explain it. I could feel the ease of the pain almost immediately, and I could feel my foot starting to tingle, like my foot was waking up after months of being asleep. And I said to him, Doc, I don't know what you just did, but that's the sweet spot. I remember saying that word for word, and everybody laughed, in the operating room. But I was like, whatever you just did, I know that just fixed me. I can tell right now, even laying here, that it's made a world of difference.
Well, that's part of the Bonati spine procedures, feeling relief right then and there. How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling great. I have not seen a chiropractor. That was March of 2009.
Wow.
I have not had the need to go back to a chiropractor. I live a full life. Don't get me wrong, I don't jump off the tailgate of my truck anymore, and I don't ride motorcycles like I used to. But I'm a lot more careful with my back. But if Dr. Bonati was standing here in front of me right now, I'd give him a handshake and a great big hug.
Aww.
Because he gave me a life back that I wasn't sure that I was going to have again.
Yeah. Well, he's here in studio. I don't know how you want to respond to that, Dr. Bonati, because I know he gets flustered.
Thank you for all your remarks. It's really nice to know that we were able to help you.
Dr. Bonati, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Dwayne.
Well, thank you, Dwayne. Continued good health.
Thank you very much, Kimberly.
You
and
take
you'll
care.
have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
Another success story here about the Bonati Spine Institute. If you or someone you know suffering with neck, back, or sciatic pain, reach out to Bonati at Bonati.com. Coming up after the break, well, we're going to speak with Jay Sacklow, author of Undemocratic: How Unelected, Unaccountable Bureaucrats Are Stealing Your Liberty and Freedom. Make sure you stay tuned. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonatti Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonatti spine procedures, Alfred Bonatti, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonatti and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
You're listening to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell with our executive radio producer, Ethan Euchre.
Always glad to be here.
Senior fellow and friend, Jeff Wagstaff.
Thanks for having me, Kimberly.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonatti of the Bonatti Spine Institute. And you're welcome, Jeff.
Doc's too busy. He's reading up on Jay here.
He is, but we're we're excited because we have Jay Sekulow, and he's chief counsel of the American Center for Law and Justice, regarded as one of the nation's most influential attorneys and free speech litigators. Mm-hmm. He has argued in front of the Supreme Court 12 times in groundbreaking First Amendment cases. He's also a Fox News commentator and New York Times best-selling author, including his latest, Undemocratic: How Unelected, Unaccountable Bureaucrats Are Stealing Your Liberty and Freedom. So thank you for joining us, Jay.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
That's quite the accolades. I don't think we've ever had an intro that long, but all of it was certainly worth mentioning, Jay. Mm-hmm. I think most people would agree with you as far as your book goes with Undemocratic, that a lot of our freedoms are sort of being
infringed on,
being attacked. Yeah, yes. And a lot of people know or should know that there's 3 branches of government. You claim there's a fourth,
yes.
And it's the biggest and most destructive. Explain.
Well, I mean, we have effectively an unelected bureaucracy.
Yes.
And this bureaucracy, I make the statement in the book that, you know, my office is in Washington is across the street from the Supreme Court of the United States. I mean, it's a beautiful building. It's a powerful institution, but it's not the strongest governmental agency. You go down the branch of government. You go down to the Capitol, a block away from our office. I mean, it's where the laws are made. A powerful branch, not the most powerful. And then the White House is about a 3-minute cab ride from our office, and it's, the seat of power of the free world. But I contend that that's still not the most powerful branch of government. There is and of course we only have 3 branches of government, but we've effectively allowed to be established 4 branches of government.
Correct.
The 4th branch being the bureaucracy, and these are unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats that are regulating America to the point where our founders wouldn't even recognize the country that we're living in.
Right.
And you could take that from the IRS to the State Department to the Health and Human Services, and on it goes. But it is an unelected and unaccountable branch of government.
You say here that thousands of new laws are passed every year without a single vote from Congress. How is that possible?
Because we, the American people, have allowed Congress to write a law. It gets signed by the president, and then the enforcement of that law through the regulatory process, which is not reviewed by anyone, results in many, many more regulations, laws, if you will, than the actual Congress is passing. And the numbers you're in the tens of thousands. It's staggering. Right. If you look at the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, there's 2,000 pages in its legislative draft. The amount of regulations that have been produced from that probably now exceeds 10,000 pages. So the regulations 5 to 1 more than the actual incomprehensible law to begin with.
Right.
But how did this happen? That's what I want to know, Jay. I mean, we all hear the term bureaucracy and bureaucrats, but it's really one of these sort of nameless, faceless ideas. I mean, who are these people? Who are the bureaucrats that are allowing this to happen and making it happen?
Well, the bureaucrats are, and you've got an unusual situation right now where you've got kind of a lockstep situation where the entrenched bureaucracy is decidedly left of center. And you've got a White House that's decidedly left of center in its positions that it's advocating. So when those two combine, that's where you have a pretty much, since at least the 60s, an unprecedented force that's making changes into our form of governance. It's not a constitutional republic that we are so used to calling ourselves. I mean, we call ourselves a constitutional republic, but that's not the reality. That's not the reality we live in.
Well, it says here that this bureaucracy, sorry, I'm just jumping in, violates the rights of Americans without accountability. So persecuting adoptive parents, denying veterans quality health care, discriminating against conservatives and Christians for partisan purposes, and damaging our economy with job-killing rules.
Yeah, I would add to it also. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I mean, you look at this, I write a chapter on this adoption credit. So the Congress passed a law that if the family adopts, they get a tax credit. Do you know the IRS audited for 2 years in a row every family that took that credit? There was less than a 1% change in collectible taxes. That would have been the amount of money expended on that compared to what they actually received is ridiculous.
Right.
And they put these families through this, and a lot of it was, by the way, foreign currency exchanges. It wasn't where someone misreported an expense. It was the foreign currency amount in the exchange. Less than 1%, but they continued the program not for 1 year, but for 2. Then there was an outcry, and they backed down, and that's one of the things I talk about. If you force and if you resist the government, oftentimes, many times, they will cave. But you got to be able to resist.
Would that
Jay?
be like resisting like Al Sharpton and dodging taxes?
He doesn't have to resist because the government's not going after him.
That's true.
I'm reading right now a 95-page opinion or an 84-page opinion against the former governor of Virginia. And when I read the opinion, whatever one thinks of the opinion or the governor, let me tell you, this opinion tells you that we've got selective prosecution is an understatement in the United States of America, but no one's going after. No one's going to go after Al Sharpton. They're not even on the radar screen of the bureaucrats. Why? Because they share the same ideological philosophy.
Correct.
Jay, I need to ask you something. I understand the things that you said. It's all over the society. Everybody talks about all these problems. Yep. You know something? I never know anybody who can overcome with solutions. The problem is we talk about the bad things, but we never stop saying, this is not going to happen, we will put this solution. What is your solution to this?
Well, the first thing is, and I lay this out in the book, I mean, is the American people have to resist. We had a situation, Doctor, where a company that we represented filed a lawsuit against the government. We were successful in that lawsuit. Then the IRS audited them, supposedly independently. They got through the audit, no changes. It's a big company, too, stores all over the country. No changes, not one modification. 6 weeks later, the IRS sent out another letter to that same client saying, we're going to audit you now for another year. And you know what I told my law partner? He said, what should I tell the IRS? I said, just tell them No. So part of what you have to do is resist. Right. And that is go to court, take action when you have to. We got to redo the whole. I mean, tort reform is a whole other question, and you got to completely redo that, because what's happening, if you take a look at the regulatory environment under Obamacare, and you know this better than anybody, it is reformulating the American health system, and I think long term not for the better. Again, that means when another president gets in and another Congress, you either you eliminate that law or you modify it so that it actually works in improving the healthcare system and healthcare availability. But these bureaucrats have to be held accountable. Right now, they violate the law, and no one from the IRS scandal has been fired. Not one person has been fired. Lois Lerner ultimately resigned, getting her full benefits.
Of course.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but that's the problem. The problem is still they are resistant, and you still have the situation that you have no solution. How you resist?
Well, here's how. You get the Congress, and this is where politics matters and election have consequences. You have a situation where you pass laws, and it says this. First of all, a regulation that has more than a $10 million impact on the economy, that has to be approved by the United States Congress. You know what you're going to see initially, Doctor? A lot less regulations. Number two, employees in the Federal Work Service are not to be lifetime appointments. They are to be merit reviewed like everybody else in the United States, every other employee of a company. And they don't get life tenure simply because they're a federal employee. That is not complicated. That's the Office of Personnel Management making a decision. It can be done actually even by executive order. You could change the civil service laws there. And number three, what you will see if you do that, if you reduce the bureaucratic overlay of the country and hold the bureaucrats responsible, you're going to end up with a net to the American people. That's going to be a much more beneficial to the long-term survival of our nation and the operation of our economy. And that's part and parcel to the same thing here. But look, I always say this, elections have real consequences, so you've got to be fully aware that when someone's elected, these are the questions that now need to be asked. What is your view on regulation, the regulatory environment? How about federal employees being held accountable, that they don't get away with this forever ad nauseum with no one saying anything? And that's how you make real change.
Well, Jay Sekulow, we could talk about this
all
for
day.
Many more shows, I'm sure. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Have a great one.
And
Pick up
love
the book.
Undemocratic, How Unelected, Unaccountable Bureaucrats Are Stealing Your Liberty and Freedom.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, if you or someone you know suffering with neck, back, or sciatic pain, reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute, 855-267-0483, or visit Bonati.com. Well, coming up after the break, we speak to Dr.
Singh. Ankur Singh.
Ankur Singh from Cornell University regarding synthetic immune organs. Make sure you stay tuned. This is really interesting. You're listening to American Medicine Today. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonatti Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonatti spine procedures, Alfred Bonatti, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonatti and your host, Kimberly Vermel.
Well, thank you for joining us for American Medicine Today. I work with a great group of men and another woman, and they are just amazing here, starting with executive radio producer and friend Ethan Euchre.
Always glad to be here.
Senior fellow, quote, Junior Mint, Jeff Wagstaff.
It has been said, chicks dig me.
And it was said one time 30 years ago.
And I said it.
And you said it. Yeah.
And we have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonatti of the Bonatti Spine Institute.
Olga is going to massage you.
Oh, boy. That was something we were talking about.
Joke. Oh,
off
goodness.
the air, inside jokes.
Shout out to WeBeam TV for streaming us online. John Gaston, and then, of course, our esteemed social media guru Meredith Sensulo. Now that I've gotten through all that, I would like to welcome to the program Dr. Ankur Singh of the Singh Research Group at Cornell University. He's here to discuss how his team has developed the first functional synthetic immune organ with controllable antibodies. I'm just blown away by everything that's written on the show prep, because it sounds like people are going to be around forever.
We won't die of disease
exactly
anymore because of this.
Why don't you tell us how this works?
Break it down for the layperson, Dr. Singh, and welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank you, Kimberly and Ethan. And so, for us, we always wanted to create a system where we can control the immune cells in the way that that it can do X, Y, or Z, just based on what kind of information we give it to them. So, what we have created is a synthetic immune organ. If you think of an immune organ, you can connect it to spleen or lymph nodes. That's the primary centers where all the immunological reactions take place.
Okay.
So it's really not very easy for anybody to take cells out of these organs and force them to start producing antibodies. That's why we rely a lot on animal studies, and it takes a long time for researchers to create antibodies against these ongoing infections. And as you can realize, there's a long gap over there by the time things are available. And there are some infections, such as influenza, where you have to do this every now and then. And so what we were interested in, we wanted to first understand what is an immune organ, what it does.
Sure.
So, of course, there is huge information out there about the components of it and all. So we started exploring several aspects of it. What makes it a very complicated process? It depends on the structure, internal structure of the organ. It's a very compartmentalized structure. It has a B cell zone and a T cell zone, and it's a very complex interaction between the organ versus the cell, one cell type versus the other cell type, and all of that has to align well for your immune cells to start undergoing this process of maturation and response to and start producing antibodies, or at least go in that direction of producing it. It's all a very complicated process. So we first understood that.
Clearly.
Yes. Yes. And then so we, because being an engineer, I started reconstructing from those information, and so we identified that there are biological cues for sure. There's the effect of this something we call microenvironment. It comprises of what the organ is made of, and then also another aspect which is called what is the mechanical stiffness or of this particular tissue. So all of those we started restructuring. And we designed biomaterials which are supposed to be biocompatible for a wide range of things. Mm-hmm. And so there's some very unique stuff in this immune organ. It has the similar mechanical stiffness as you will see for clinically reported lymph nodes. It has the right signals, biological signals that your organ presents. And another bigger challenge for us was that how do we create a system where T cells are there, dendritic cells are there, B cells are there all together to push B cells in your body to produce antibodies. So it was a very complex or challenging task for us. So we engineered a cell type that can just present this. It's a skin cell that can present these signals. And it doesn't. It's a fairly simple system in that aspect.
Well, let me see if I understand this correctly, because it says 3D organs outperform exist in 2D cultures.
Correct.
That can produce B cells up to 100 times faster. Now, those are the ones that are imperative for treating disease, correct?
Correct. So when you take out these cells and put them in a regular tissue culture condition, which is these plates that we all use. Starting from the base population, you will end up getting like a 10-fold development or maturation. If you use this 3D organ we have created, you can go up to 100-fold from that base population.
Now, when you talk about the 3D organ, is that something somehow you take some cells and you introduce it into the person? How does that work? How do you introduce it?
Well, no. So we haven't put it in any body or anything like that. We take the cells out. We call them naive cells, or these are immature B cells, and we put them in these 3D organs, which are to picture them how they look like. They're basically similar to a contact lens, that kind of material, a gel, or a Jello. It's made of a component that's very popular as Jello. So you put them in there, and the system itself starts providing signals because it has the way it is constructed or engineered. It starts providing the right combination of signals, and that drives the immature B cells into this process where they undergo gene rearrangements and things like that, and they start making these antibodies.
You're trying to make this thing more understandable for the people in the audience, because the level that you are talking right now, these people are looking at me like, now what?
All of us in the room are looking at you like that, Doc, because we're the non-doctors in this room.
What we need to answer, I mean, where I would like that you guide this discussion is to the population of the audience. And what I want to know is this functional synthetic immune organ is right now in development.
Correct.
But because it's in development, you are using cells that they are seeding this immune organ.
Correct.
And you are studying that.
Yes.
So we are at that stage right now.
Yes.
What the people would like to know is, for example, once you develop this organ, is this organ is something that's going to be introduced in the body of the people, so can help the immune system to control the antibodies or to produce the antibodies to defend illnesses and sickness that the patient already has, or this is something that you are going to use just experimental?
Well, so there are both sides of it. In the long run, yes, there is a possibility of implanting this in the body, but it's a very long-term goal. But right now, what we are interested in approaching is that can you make infection-specific antibodies and use them as a way to treat the disease?
And how you know if this synthetic organ
Yes.
Control infection? Do you use an infected animal, or you are using just a study in the laboratory?
Right now, the study is in the laboratory. What's been out there, the next stage, what we are progressing on is we create antibodies that are we're planning to create antibodies that are specific for an infection, and that will be tested to neutralize infection in an animal model.
So what you are saying is that this antibody now is, this immune system is producing antibodies, and you have a Petrus plate that has an infection, and you put these antibodies there, and you see how this immune system is working to remove the infection in that plate.
Not that way. What I was saying, that if you do it outside of the body in lab, and you make the organ produce antibodies, and you take that and put it in an animal that has been infected with an infectious disease, and ideally these antibodies are going to be specific for that infection, and it should remove that.
So what you are getting is the cells of the infected the infected animal is the one that you are using for this functional synthetic immune organ.
No, right now we are simply using the healthy, fresh cells.
Okay.
And if the big goal is that if you introduce let's say an infectious protein to these cells, they should start producing antibodies, and then you can put them back in any infected animal, and it should neutralize and prevent that. And so that's the direction for the infectious.
I understand then. What you are producing these is cells that you are going to inject in the body later.
No, antibodies.
Antibodies, yes.
Antibodies.
Yeah.
And so, one of the big benefit over here is that we are doing it at a much faster rate instead of months and months of research that takes place in producing using animal models. Using this synthetic system, you can do it at a very fast rate and in a very high throughput manner. And so that should, and it's infectious disease is not just one area. I believe this can go towards cancer immunotherapy, autoimmune diseases. And if you realize, another interest that we have is that this same organ that we are talking about, that is the source for several of the blood cancers that take place, the lymphomas. It's the same cell that we are talking about over here, and it's the same process of antibody formation. When there is a mistake in this natural process, it can cause lymphomas. So it opens up a wide range of possibilities for studying not only the infectious disease, curing those diseases, as well as fundamental studies that can be done. And
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Ankur Singh, part of the Singh Research Group at Cornell University, discussing the first functional synthetic immune organ.
Interesting
with
stuff.
Controllable antibodies. Amazing.
Thanks for joining us, Dr. Singh.
Thank you. Thank you,
Dr. Singh.
All right, have a good one.
Well, coming up after the break.
My question that I never got around to asking because of all of this medical terminology mumbo jumbo. All I wanted to do in the sci-fi geek in me was like, when am I going to be able to buy a man-made immune organ that I can get implanted so I can live forever? That's really all I wanted to know.
But think about it. Go further than that. What about if people get this immune organ put in them and they are just immune to everything else, and then the government puts out some sort of infectious disease?
Yeah, it all comes back to the government.
When good science goes bad.
Evil.
Well, anyway, you're listening to American Medicine Today. Make sure you tweet at Dr. Bonati or hashtag American Medicine Today. And if you or someone you know suffering with neck, back, or sciatic pain, don't wait for the synthetic immune organ. Make sure you reach out to Bonati Spine Institute, 855-267-0483, or visit Bonati.com. Coming up after the break, well, Dr. Bonati will give you what's new in American Medicine Today. Stay tuned. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now, I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
It's your favorite segment. I'm Kimberly Brumell. Welcome to American Medicine Today, joined by our executive radio producer, Ethan Euchre.
Always happy to be here.
Senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff.
Thanks for having me.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati. No, this is not what's new in American medicine today, but there's a little bit of that. This is now that...
Now it's time to see what Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, President Obama, and the Democrats have simmering in Washington, D.C. Let's see what's cooking in Barack's crock.
And what a crock it is. Well, I think, is this a discussion about Donald Trump?
Well, for the first time, the Democrats have an individual that is going to oppose them.
Yes.
Now, this is the real American. This is the man that this country deserves, and this is the man that this country will vote for.
Okay.
And you can see it already in the polls. Is not going all the way up, but at the same time is defeating every one of these poor wimps that they are, the politicians.
Emasculated politicians out there.
Well, totally. They are scared of their shadow.
Right.
They are scared of race. They are scared of sex. They are scared of religion. They are scared of, I don't know how they can even eat or breathe.
Now, Doc, devil's advocate, because I know you love Trump, especially this time around.
Right.
Last time he ran, a lot of people said, and it turned out to be true. They said it's more...
Wait a minute. He never
ran. Trust me, I have had this debate with him, Ethan. Thank you.
He never ran.
He started to have a campaign.
He got the ball rolling and announced
what he said is he will like to run.
I remember that too. Thank you.
Yeah.
He told me I was wrong.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, but continue.
Well, the point is, I think he got fed up because in the last run, he interviewed the politicians and talked to them, and unfortunately they like everyone that the Republicans elect somebody very wimpy, so they can be in the middle of what they feel is going to attract the electorate. No, the Americans are not wimpy. The Americans are warriors. That's why we are involved in wars all the time. And when you have a leader who is mediocre or wimpy, they don't vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They just go, fine.
I don't want to vote for that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, see the polls now. Not only they are behind him, but at the same time they are happy to have somebody of that quality. Mm-hmm. He speaks the truth, and he doesn't back out. Mm-hmm. He is absolutely clear in his concepts. He said what needs to be done and why they need to be done. For the first time, we have somebody who comes and tells us how you can correct the problem. Right. And like everything that is good and that is effective is short and is clear and is easy to do.
Well, but none of the politicians that are currently in, as sad as it's to say, both Democrats and Republicans alike, they need to get out. Supreme Court justices should not be a lifelong career, especially when you're going a bit senile. Thank you.
Yeah, they are. Every one of those people are with Alzheimer's.
They all want to create slaves of the system. So I don't think any of them really want to get to the true root of the problems that are happening here in this country.
But Dr. Bonatti, the only challenge that I see with Mr. Trump is he hasn't bathed in the pool of political correctness. So well, how can you expect him?
Thank God.
That is a bath that he doesn't need to take.
Am I allowed to say God anymore?
How do you expect him to compete in the world that everything is politically correct and everything is homogenized?
Because he is not a mediocre person. He doesn't need to compete. He needs to guide. And
he doesn't need to pander.
He doesn't need to pander.
Well, that's the thing about Trump, and that's what I like about Trump, is that he's so on a different level from everybody else that he doesn't care what anybody thinks about him, so he says what he actually feels rather than all of these politicians in Washington who have been whitewashed by the PC nature of this country.
The politicians in Washington, before they really get in a situation of being a politician, they already sold their soul to the devil.
Right.
So what happened is they are so compromised and so tied up, they are scared of their shadow. So this is why it's important that we talk about term limits. Because then we will have more Trumps on the political arena in the future.
And repealing Obamacare.
And also making everyone that is a governmental individual, from the IRS to the individuals that they work on the VA hospital or anybody who works for the government, should be contracts that they can be fired if they do not perform to the skills and the needs of that specific business.
Very true. And he's the only one that can really get people back to work.
I truly believe that Donald Trump is the only person running, and this is an outside chance, but if he awakens what I believe to be the silent majority of the country, the people who are sitting home and are just tired of the BS that's going on in the country, he has the ability to wake those people and unite them.
He already woke up those people. He doesn't need to wake up those people. They are already cheering for him. Is like a cold water on the desert. For first time, is somebody who walks there and he said, "You are wrong, and I'll correct it." And this is the way to correct it. Look. Already the government of Mexico is already asking for some communication because they are correcting the garbage that they are sending to this country and to avoid to put these people in jail in their country and cost them money, are sending to the United States so we can have a situation
Talking to your mic.
We sorry. So I'm getting excited with this.
I love when he gets excited.
I'll shut up.
He stops talking into the mic because he's so excited. But no, I get you, Doc. We are almost out of time, unfortunately. But I'm sure with Trump officially in the race now, that we'll be hearing a lot more about that.
You're going to see how easy he's going to erase. This is practically fresh water for medicine.
Do you really think that, though? Do you really think that he's going to go far, is what I'm getting
He's going to go far? He's already far.
Okay.
He is the leader right now. And I don't know for how many points, but let me tell you this. Just wait for around 6 months. He's going to be so far of these politicians. And in the first debate you're going to see how many of these people fall through the sides because he's not scared to tell the people
he's not.
exactly how they feel.
If the liberal media doesn't bury him.
The media,
they'll
look,
try.
the liberal media has not an opportunity to do that
All right, guys.
because he's able to control the journalists.
That's
Very
a look
simple.
at Barack's crock.
You had to poke him
Anyway.
again at the end when you know we're out of time. Jeff.
I need more time.
You're listening to American Medicine Today. If you or someone you know suffering with neck, back, or sciatic pain, reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute, 855-267-0483, or visit Bonati.com. You can tweet at Dr. Bonati or hashtag American Medicine Today. And make sure you like us on Facebook. Check out Bloomberg TV both Saturdays and Sundays in the evenings. Check your local listings. And here in Tampa, WFTS ABC 28, Saturdays at 7.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.